Welcome back to Beyond Faces. My name is Moses Abukutsa. The last time we were talking about Madame Rose, the story of the female teacher that gave us sleepless nights when we were back in high school. And that story stirred up a lot of excitement in my peers, and some of them even reminded me some of the details I had forgotten. They reminded me that during that punishment we were forced to devise and invent means of getting the water to wash our pavements, and one of the means we devised was to drain the school fish pond. That even put us in more trouble with a biology teacher, one of the most conspicuous teachers on the compound, who had the tendency of mispronouncing biological terms because of the influence of his first language, his mother tongue. And we, as any high school students that time, made a lot of fun out of them, and even nicknamed him out of one of the mispronunciations he made. So yeah, I was reminded that part of the story, and it was a Saturday we will never forget. Of course, our friend who sold us out to the teachers, if you're not following what I'm saying, you can watch my other video, Madame Rose, that has the story that happened. So I'm just picking out some details from that story to tell the details I forgot. So it was a Saturday we would live to remember. We were punished in school for our mischief that Saturday, and we were sold out after we had agreed as a class not to disclose anyone that had orchestrated the mischief. The mischief, you can find it on my other video, Madame Rose. So we had a lot of mischief going on in our class thereafter. At that time we were in Form 2, and as though mischief had not had the desire to leave us, it followed us to the next class. So when we went to the next class, we were in the middle, or what I can call the apex of our adolescence. And we had begun having eyes not only for books and for food, but we had begun having eyes for the fair agenda. So there were activities we would go attend, various of us. Some of us were quite active in drama, others were active in the then called Science Congress. Now it has another name, Science and Engineering Fair. Then it was called Science Congress, and there was the music festival. So these were the main, or of course plus symposiums that we would attend. So these were the main areas where we socialized with the fairer gender. Girls, let me be straightforward. So we were quite active when we got to the next class. And there's a particular incident that I remember in that class that the only rivals the incident of the Madame Rose video I had in the last recording. This incident happened one time when some of us in drama went out, and we got to socialize with some girls from a neighboring school. So these girls apparently happened to come from one particular class in that school. Now, so whatever happened after that is that some of our drama members who were in our class came up with an innovative idea of pushing our relationship to new heights, and they sat down and orchestrated I think that was going to eventually put us in trouble and put the girls in trouble. But I'm going ahead of myself. So these boys sat down in a group and decided that our class was going to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the other class from the neighboring school, and the contents of the memorandum of understanding were going to be that each one of us in our class was going to get a girlfriend from the other class in the neighboring school. So they decided that we were going to write a letter to be delivered in the next symposium in that school or wherever we would meet that school. So my services of writing, being a good writer and with a good handwriting, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but you can ask my classmates then. I was a creative then, and I still am a creative now. So I was tasked with the task or the responsibility, the honorable responsibility to write a letter on behalf of the class to that particular class. And we, in that letter, outlined our desires, and we had names that were matched against the names of the girls of that class. Mark you, somehow we had received the class list of that other class and had received all the names. So some of us who had gone for that drama outing and had made ourselves acquainted with girls, we had actually secured ourselves our partners. But now we were matchmaking for our other classmates. Mark you, without their consent and knowledge. So we did finish the letter and send it out to the neighboring school through some of their girls that met some of our classmates during one of the events that happened in that particular time. So something that we never expected happened. I'm going to tell you, otherwise this is Beyond Faces. On this channel, my YouTube channel, my name is Moses Abukutsa. Here we share stories, I tell personal experiences. On this channel also I have a series called Bonfire Talk, where I talk about issues of life and matters that touch on people and life, and anything to do with wisdom and anything to do with life, basically mental health and other issues of life I do on this channel. So like, share and subscribe on my channel Beyond Faces, and you can comment below, say if you like what I'm doing or if you have anything to say. So back to my story. I was saying something happened we didn't expect. So we had done the letter on a weekend. So that Monday on assembly, the principal, what in other places is called the headmaster, came out guns blazing. And the reason why his guns were blazing is that he had received a call from the principal or the headmistress of our neighboring school, and she had been categorical. According to him, I just quote him, may his soul rest in peace. I'm quoting him, and he said that the principal, the headmistress from the other school had demanded for an apology because his boys were distracting her girls. And the class in question, he said, of course, our class, and we were asked to remain behind after the rest had left the assembly. We knew our goose was cooked. All was not going to be well. And there was no other thing for us to expect except some thrashing. And we, after assembly, were given very minimal counseling. Nowadays, students majorly receive guiding and counseling. For us that time, it was very minimal. What we received was a landing on us by every teacher with whatever they could get in the form of a cane. So we received our thrashing, thorough thrashing. And we were ordered to write an apology letter to that school. Again, as I was saying before, I was a good writer, and the honors fell on me to draft the letters, which I did, and we went through it by our classmates, or we went over it with our classmates, and we drafted the letter, and it was posted. Later, we came to learn that the reason why there had been fire breaking out and the girls from the other class in our neighboring school putting us in trouble had been this, that one of the girls in the school had gotten wind of what had happened, that a certain class had written a letter, and his boyfriend, who happened to be in our class, had been given a match in that class. So she that evening, when the other class received their letter, went into that class, our matchmaking class, and demanded an explanation. And you know, the girl demanding an explanation was not by fast diplomatic means. It was first an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth before she could listen to any explanation. So there was no explanation that was demanded by diplomatic means, or rather any speaking. That girl simply walked into that class and started a war, a World War III kind of war. And hell broke loose in the entire class, and the entire evening there was pandemonium in the school. Reason being, there were two girls fighting over a boy from our school, and one of the things that had led them to fight was that the main thing that had led them to fight was the owner of the boy, or having heard that another girl had been match made with him without her knowledge, and therefore, instead of waiting to confront the boy, she decided to take matters up in her hands immediately and confront this usurper of her relationship. So that caused the school to go into a pandemonium, and the TODs of that school had to arrive, teachers had to come, and of course the matter eventually culminated and reached the headmistress, who unilaterally made a decision to suspend the entire class. It is because of her decision of suspending the entire class that now she demanded an apology from our own headmaster or principal. And then that's how we landed in trouble that Monday. And the trouble did not end there. We went on doing punishment that involved the uprooting of old tree stumps and cleaning the toilets and doing the pavements again. So we seem to have grown into mischief. And the outstanding thing is that this time round, no one sold anyone out. Those of us who had been the orchestrators of this matchmaking that went wrong were silently covered, and we bore each other's punishment like men. Though we were boys then, we bore the punishment like men. And that was the other mischief in high school I have just remembered. And I said, let me share my story like I shared the other story, Madam Rose. So our school experience was an interesting experience. And our class was one of the most interesting classes. It was quite an interesting time we had in school. So the boy in our class eventually made up with his legal girlfriend. I'm using legal girlfriend. And the one we had made a match for him swore, as we had later, not to take everything lying down. She was going to take vengeance against both the boy and the girl. And of course, our classmates who were very innocent, some of them who were quite saved, were, you know, eventually receiving the short end of the stick with us in this scenario and situation. And it taught me a lesson that I have come to live with, is that sometimes you cannot know what will happen in the next moment. And they had just been peaceful. They never knew what was happening as some of us orchestrated this matchmaking in our class and the other class. We indeed had an experience that I will never forget. So many of us are in many places, but this experience of matchmaking with that neighboring school, I know, lives to be remembered. We never eventually, of course, even got far into any lengthy relationships with our matchmaking. In fact, it was an exercise in futility. I don't even remember where my match is, and I know many of us don't even know where they are. So it is just an interesting time. It was an interesting time. And as I sit back and tell the story now, I know that's saying something many of my classmates remember. So like, share, subscribe to Beyond Faces on this channel. You will interact with me as I tell you stories, as we share on Matters Life in the Bonfire series. On this channel we are going to have the Bonfire series, and we are also going to have stories, and you can enjoy both of these things on this channel. Very many stories are in my head, and I hope I'll get the right way to tell them. And very many reflections are in my head. I hope I'll get the right way to tell them. Otherwise, this has been Moses Abukuta. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe, and say something in the comment section. The stories are many. Some I've already told. You can visit the others that are on the videos that I made before this one. Otherwise, much make in school. Just wait for your time to come. Goodbye.